Deep relaxation. This sequence focuses on slow breathing, gentle breath holds, and practices that move towards feelings of restoration to calm the mind, ease the nervous system, and let go in the present moment. To experience a state of relaxation, we need to feel safe, both physically in our environment and emotionally in our sense of well being. Any sense of fear or danger inhibits the ability to relax. We don't need to be in danger to feel fear, and we obviously wouldn't do a deep relaxation sequence if there was an imminent threat. Fear arises from the unknown, from perceived danger that may or may not be real, but either way, our reaction is the same. Our fear might not present itself so obviously as being scared of something, more as a feeling of worry or stress, maybe that we don't have enough money to pay the bills, concerns about health, job, relationships, or family, apprehension about the future, or a multiplicity of other things. Often, these uncertainties repeat in the back of our minds, fueling the feelings of stress and anxiety, yet we ignore them as if they're normal. While it might be common, we are not meant to live under continuous stress. When our minds are occupied with future events, future needs, and future self, we are prevented from enjoying the full present. Modern life encourages the hustle, and for most of us, it is necessary. Even if we are not stressed about being overloaded in our daily routine and we thrive being always on the go, without rest, we eventually burn out. We also try to be so busy that we feel as though we have control of something because in actuality, we feel out of control. Releasing control might highlight the feeling of being out of control. Relaxation is necessary for the mind and body to repair themselves. Yet, most of us relax our bodies without ever resting our minds, so much so that our future projections creep into our dreams. Fear, stress, worry, and the perpetual running of thoughts about what we need to do, accomplish, have, or become all arise from a perception of a future that may or may not happen. And while it is necessary to prepare for the future, we can only relax when we are present. A common misconception is that we need to ignore the things that want to occupy our minds and consume our thoughts. The more we try to push them away, the more they stand their ground. Instead, before this practice, take a moment to recognize and acknowledge your stream of thoughts, concerns, and needs. Only by bringing light to the situation can you see what is there. As thoughts enter the mind, let them come without resistance, without needing to change them or engage with them, and let them go when they no longer want to occupy your mind. As you move through the sequence, allow the breath to be your mantra. Let the breath come, let it be, and let it go. With it, the thoughts will follow, and you'll experience a sense of being fully present. Warm up. The warm up begins with Durga Savasana Pranayama. The primary purpose of the three-part exercise is to create a connection between the mind, body, and breath while allowing the breath to hold you present. Here, modifications to Durga Savasana are made, adjusting the depth and effort of the breath to have a milder approach for the inhalation and fill only 60 to 70% of your vital capacity. The inhale is 5 seconds with a ratio of 2 to 2 to 1. Inhale to expand the belly for 2. Continue the inhalation to the mid-chest for 2 and fill the upper chest for 1. Conclude with an equal exhalation of 5 seconds. Equal respirations restore balance to the nervous system and promote the sattvic quality to be. You need to feel present to feel safe and let go of future thoughts and projections. The slower respiration rate of 5 to 6 breaths per minute produces a natural calming effect on the mind. This breath practice can be done while seated or lying down. Sometimes lying down can be helpful in allowing the body to fully release control and relax, especially if you struggle to surrender. Place one hand on the belly and one hand on the chest to provide a touch that helps us feel connected and safe. Connecting your hands to your body also stimulates the peripheral nervous system to release tension in your muscles, similarly to the response your nervous system has while stretching. Continue Durga Savasana for approximately 5 minutes. If you are still anxious or your mind is overactive, you continue with this breath practice until you feel ready to move forward. Sometimes slow, relaxed, focused breathing is the best thing to release the busy mind from its nature. Heat building. The heat building component focuses on creating tamasic energy to build a sense of grounding and stability. The intensity of this breath increases slightly with every respiratory cycle. As the intensity increases, the parasympathetic nervous system is stimulated so you feel more relaxed, even though the breath becomes more challenging. The warm-up flows directly into the heat-building component as you continue with the 5-to-5 ratio, but switches from the 3-part breath to a natural inhalation where the chest and abdomen move in unison. With each respiration, add 1 second to the exhale until you reach 15 seconds. 5 to 5, 5 to 6, 5 to 7, 5 to 15. This practice brings focus to the exhalation. A longer exhale to inhale ratio contributes to feeling relaxed and at peace. Place the focus on the exhalation, move with letting go and grounding the energy of Apanavayu. The heat building component is relatively short, serving as a transition to the more challenging retention practice in the vitalizing component by lengthening the exhalation and building up CO2. Vitalizing. This component brings the focus to create an extended breath retention with relatively low difficulty. The intent is to sustain a retention practice, working through Antara Kumbhaka and Vayu Kumbhaka. You want to stimulate the dorsal vagal complex of the autonomic nervous system that fosters a sense of relaxation without triggering the sympathetic fight or flight response that could come from struggling to hold your breath. After the final respiration of the heat building component, transition to the vitalizing practice with 5 slow breaths. After the 5th breath, inhale deeply and hold for 30 seconds. After 30 seconds, exhale naturally and continue with 5 more slow breaths. After the 5th breath, exhale completely and hold for 15 seconds on the outer retention. The vitalizing practice continues by alternating between 30-second inner retention and 15-second outer retention, with each hold separated by 5 slow breaths that enable recovery from the periods of retention. Try to breathe only as deeply as is needed, but if you feel challenged by this, take deeper breaths to help regulate your CO2 levels or add a few more breaths to recover before continuing with the next retention. This practice allows us to gradually increase our tolerance to CO2 while slowly buffering our blood pH levels with intermittent breathing. Throughout the vitalizing component, the 5 slow intermittent breaths become more shallow and effortless. The rise in carbon dioxide levels slows the heart, lowers blood pressure, opens the airways, and makes it easier to breathe while creating a state of deep relaxation. Continue the breath cycle for 15 to 20 minutes or longer if you need. If either the inner or outer retention feels too challenging, add more breaths to the holds. If it is still too difficult, shorten the length of the retention until it feels manageable. Cool down. The cool down focuses on complete surrender. The full cool down is only 3 breaths, followed by a short period of relaxed, natural breathing. Each of the 3 breaths has a 10-second inhalation followed by a progressively lengthening inner retention. The first retention is 10 seconds, the second is 20, and the final is 30. After the hold, open your mouth and sigh deeply with a vocalized ah. Singing promotes a neurological response that releases stress and anxiety. This breathing exercise is about letting go and releasing control, releasing fear, stress, anxiety, and anything else you might hold on to that does not provide any benefit. With these 3 deep breaths, let it go. After the 3rd, let go of all control and return to normal, relaxed breathing. Release any thoughts, but don't try to push anything out. Whatever arises in your mind, let it come, let it be, and let it go. After a few minutes of resting in your natural breath, notice if anything is coming up as a result of the practice and see if there are any changes or shifts in energy, mood, or feelings.